Hello and welcome to another step-by-step how to tie tutorial video. This is the Professor. This is the letter P from my A to Z tie-in series out of my Norwegian fly tying book. It's a lot of fun. Be sure to check out that A to Z playlist. Hook, I am using a size 12. This is a Mustad 9672. It is a 3x long shank. For a tying thread, I'm using a size A waxed yellow thread. This is on the old wooden spool. Tail material, we will be using red Hackle fibers. The body will consist of 4-strand yellow silk floss and a ribbing of a golden tinsel. On the bottom side, for a throat, we'll be using brown hen hackle. And for the top wing, we will be using Mallard. So let's go ahead and remove that sample and secure our hook in the vise. And like all good flies, this will begin but with a single wrap of thread. Let's see, right about there. We're going to give ourselves plenty of room up front. One of the things I've had a tendency of doing is crowding the eye. And if you start your thread a little bit further back, use that as a visual reference, as a point of no return until you're ready to finish the fly and build the head. So I advanced my thread to the bend of the hook. And what I'm going for are these nice long hackle fibers. We're going to trim all the fluff out of the way. Align the tips more or less and give it a quick snatch. Alright, we'll measure this out about a hook's length, maybe a little bit shorter. We'll lock that in here at the bend of the hook. Continue our wraps forward, securing this down the shank of the hook. It looks like we'll get lucky and tie it all in without having to trim. Next, we're going to take our silver tinsel and we're going to tie in a small length of this. We're going to tie this in on the near side of the hook. We're going to keep our wraps relatively close. They can be spaced out just a little bit. Touching, not quite touching. This is going to end up getting a few different layers. We'll take this all the way to the bend. Alright, take those thread wraps forward once again. We'll space these out just a little bit, where we will capture our 4 strands of yellow silk. We're going to tie this along the shank of the hook, working our way from the front to the rear. And this we want to kind of keep towards the top. Take our thread wraps all the way to the rear, and one last time we will advance them forward. We got a nice good saturation of thread already, good thread base. Trim off that little bit of waste of that silk. Alright, now we are going to build our body. We're taking nice, close touching wraps of these 4 strands of yellow silk. Now each wrap, I'm giving my bobbin one full twist to make sure everything lays out nice and flat. slightly overlapping, and this will give you a nice even body without any lumps. I got that one thread jumping forward, but that's all right. We're here to the end. All right, once we're up towards the front, we can go ahead and secure that silk floss with our yellow tying thread, and we can trim off the excess and prepare to do our ribbing. These will be counter wraps. We're going to take a nice, evenly spaced, open spiral, working from the rear to the front. One full wrap at the very end, and we can secure that down with our tying thread. At this point, we can trim off the excess of the gold tinsel, and we can prepare to do our throat. So once again, this is a brown hen hackle. I'm going to come just above that down part, trim that off, and I like to do what I call the high and tight. Just a small little snip on either side of that stem, which creates a little anchor. Alright, this is how we're going to tie it in. I'm going to splay out the fibers, and on the far side of the hook I am going to strip bare, a little bit at a time. I'm doing this after I did that little high and tight down here in the very bottom of the stem, because that way I still have my little anchor to tie in. Alright, I'm going to grab that little anchor section, secure that to the hook, and we'll check our watches because it is hackle time. Now, as we palmer this on, we will be taking nice and close touching wraps, keeping the fibers towards the rear, trying not to trap anything down prematurely. We want it dense but sparse. That's why we went ahead and trimmed off half of that feather, stripped that one side, and it kind of gives us a nice clean finish. We'll build that up. Here we go. Alright, now we can secure the hackle. Some locking wraps. Remove our hackle pliers. Give that one turn. And trim off that tip of that stem real nice and close. Alright, I'm going to take the rest of these fibers, I'm going to mush them down on either side of the hook, and I'm going to start to fold them back a little bit. I'm going to go back and I'm going to wrap over that hackle with my thread, locking them in the downward position. Anything hanging out up top, we'll just give it a trim with the scissors, and we can prepare to do our mallard, our main wing. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to take a small section, line up these tips, give it a quick yank. I got a small little section for the wing. Measure that out so the tip of the wing is about halfway on that tail, a little slightly past the bend of the hook. Alright, let's come in and we'll give this mallard wing a trim. Get rid of the excess. And now we can build our head up front. That's what we did. We ended up crowding the eye just a little bit too much. We'll finish this with the old 1, 2, 3 whip finish. And trim off our tying thread. Got it shaped up pretty nice. And to give it the nice black head, I am using Loon Outdoors. This is Hard Head Black. This stuff is really concentrated. We will not be using the brush. We will be using our bodkin to apply. So we'll just take a small little droplet off of the brush. And we just touch it to the head. And it's really easy to see where you've covered and what needs to be covered, because this yellow and black is definitely a high contrast. Right up there to the edge of it. You see that one stray fiber hanging out up top. We'll take care of that. So there you have it. That is the Professor tied on a Mustad size 12 3x long shank hook. P is for Professor. Thank you for watching. Happy tying, and with this one, tight lines.